Tom Brady is back, but Michael Thomas is out again. I'm Joe Dolan, and this is the Fantasy Points Daily Lineup for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022.
It's time for the FantasyPoints.com Daily Lineup. Staying on top of the latest news and updates around the NFL. Rise and shine, folks. We're taking the field. Here's your host, FantasyPoints.com's Joe Dolan.
Starting at quarterback today, and for the 2022 season, I think, is the Buccaneers' Tom Brady. Brady returned to the Buccaneers after spending about 10 days away from the team for personal reasons. Now, Pro Football Network's Aaron Wilson reported that his time away from the team included a trip to the Bahamas with his family. Brady's absence was strange, but it's certainly worth mentioning that Brady returning on August 22nd aligns perfectly with Coach Todd Bowles' comments a couple of weeks ago that Brady would return sometime after the preseason game with the Titans, which was this past weekend. Bowles said the absence was planned and both parties knew about it. And Brady returning on Monday seems to confirm that Bowles was actually telling the truth. Of course, Reddit went absolutely nuts with Brady being gone, with multiple conspiracy theories arising, some more benign than others. This is for my sisters. I know you're watching. I will not be speculating on the status of Tom and Gisele's relationship. But a personal favorite conspiracy theory of mine was that Brady was taking time to film The Masked Singer, and that's why he was away from camp. Brady himself poked fun at that on Twitter on Monday, writing that he wasn't on The Masked Singer last week, was wearing a mask though. Whatever that is supposed to mean. Unfortunately, Brady returns to a team that has a further decimated offensive line than when he left. Offensive guard Aaron Stinney went down with a season-ending knee injury last week, and right tackle Twiston Wirfs picked up an oblique injury while Brady was absent. Wirfs is expected to be ready for the season opener, but the interior of Brady's offensive line could be very weak after center Ryan Jensen also suffered his own serious knee injury early in camp. And how do you get to Brady? How do you get to a guy who doesn't really have much second reaction playmaking ability? You pressure him up the interior, and it's always been the story. Brady has also missed out on valuable reps with new receivers Russell Gage and Julio Jones, so there's more concern surrounding Brady than usual. On the positive side, Mike Evans returned to a full practice on Monday from the hamstring injury that had kept him out for a couple of weeks, while Chris Godwin's ACL recovery progressed to participating in non-contact 11-on-11s. Evans should be fine barring setback, and though Godwin might not be 100% in week one, our Dr. Edwin Porras believes he is progressing perfectly and should be targeted at his ADP of wide receiver 28. Given everything, though, we at Fantasy Points believe Brady is overvalued at his ADP of 96 and quarterback 10 after the last 3 weeks of camp news, and we prefer to select quarterbacks like Dak Prescott and Trey Lance, who are being selected right around him. At our first running back spot, we have yet another update on Kenneth Walker. The ever-optimistic Pete Carroll didn't give an update on Walker's potential return from hernia surgery on Monday, adding that the rookie is still, quote, tender following the procedure he had to repair the hernia, per Brady Henderson of ESPN. Carroll previously said that Walker had a chance to play in the season opener, but it appears that he is headed more towards the longer side of his initial 2 to 6 week time frame. First of all, no crap, Pete. Of course Walker is tender. He's just a few days removed from having a scalpel inserted into his abdomen. He was literally stabbed for science. But secondly, as I said last week, we're still weeks away from the Seahawks opener, 2.5 as of today. So there's plenty of recovery that Walker can get done in the interim, and he'll be about 4 weeks removed from the procedure when the season does officially kick off. But the Seahawks really have no incentive to rush him back onto the field, given Rashad Penny is in one of the rare moments of his career when he is healthy. Now, we've been high on Walker coming into the league, with our Graham Barfield charting him as the best running back in this rookie class. But Walker's in danger of missing a game or two early in the season. The good news is that Walker's ADP has consistently fallen into the double-digit rounds on Underdog Fantasy, while fantasy drafters in general remain skeptical of Penny. Penny remains an 8th-round pick, and I can't see him coming off the board much earlier than the 7th, even if it's confirmed that Walker will miss some time early in the season. Frankly, I can sign off on both players at ADP, though I've started to pull back from Walker given how much I drafted him early in best ball. Just understand that if you draft Walker, you're probably drafting him for weeks 7 and 8, not weeks 1 and 2. Our Dr. Edward Porras, though, did say that, barring setback, Walker should be 100% by around week 3. At our other running back spot is someone looking for a new home. The Raiders hate the Drake. The Raiders informed veteran Kenyon Drake of his release on Monday, Tom Pelissero of NFL Network reports. Now, the writing was on the wall. While the Raiders have to eat a not insignificant amount of money to release Drake, this new regime didn't hand out the big contract that he got last year, and they're just cutting their losses now. Drake had a mostly nondescript in his only season with the Raiders. He played in 12 games, missing the final 5 with a broken ankle. He averaged just 4 yards per carry on 63 carries, but did produce a strong 30 catches for 291 yards and a touchdown on 40 targets. That's 9.7 yards per reception, so pretty good. When he went down, Drake was the running back 36 in total scoring, but the running back 48 in fantasy points per game, and that production was largely driven by spike weeks. While Drake had 3 games as a top 12 PPR running back, all in a row, by the way, from weeks 6 through 9, he didn't finish in the top 24 in any of his other 9 games. So mostly, he was someone who was going to frustrate you if you had to make a weekly decision on him. Meanwhile, under new coach Josh McDaniels, the Raiders' passing down back is almost certainly going to be Amir Abdullah, who becomes a very intriguing late-round PPR play. The Raiders rested both Josh Jacobs and Abdullah in their second preseason game, which indicated they're at the top of the depth chart as the early down and passing down backs, respectively, in this offense. And Abdullah, playing with the Panthers last year, quietly had 24 catches over the final 6 games of 2021. Drake, meanwhile, can go elsewhere and help a team that needs a pass catcher in the backfield. 2 spots that immediately come to mind are the Giants and Panthers, 2 backfields that are paper thin after their locked-in starters, Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. At our first wide receiver spot is someone I wish I could stop discussing on this program. In the last 2 weeks of this show, I've discussed how the Saints' Michael Thomas has been tearing up training camp in his return from ankle injury exile. Now, Saints beat writers haven't seen Thomas look the way he's looked this summer since his record-setting campaigns of 2018 and 2019. His ADP was a rocket ship. And now, back to reality. Head coach Dennis Allen said on Sunday that Thomas picked up a hamstring injury and he missed practice on both Sunday and Monday with the injury. We don't know the extent of the injury, and there's a good chance it doesn't affect his status for week 1. But it's still a bit disconcerting with Thomas barely playing the last 2 seasons because of that severe ankle injury. And this is the catch-22 of training camp injuries, when teams don't have to release official injury designations, and players are held back for injuries that they play and practice through come September. Now, is it good that Thomas has a sore hamstring? Of course not. But if it's just a slight tweak, why would the Saints push him while we're still basically 3 weeks away from the regular season? There's no reason to. All in all, Thomas's hamstring injury is a good reminder that he carries more risk than the other wide receivers drafted around his ADP of around 58 and wide receiver 30. At our other wide receiver spot is someone I have zero interest in drafting at just about any cost. The Giants' Kenny Golladay is having a miserable training camp. There go Butterscotch and Crimpet, by the way. By all accounts, they don't want anything to do with Kenny Golladay either. By all accounts, Kenny Golladay is having a miserable training camp, failing to get on the same page with Daniel Jones yet again after he didn't find the end zone in his first season with the Giants after signing a $72 million contract. Golladay led New York's wide receivers in snaps with Jones in the club's second preseason game against the Bengals, but he failed to even register a target. Yuck. This comes on the heels of training camp videos showing Golladay running sluggish routes and all around looking disinterested. To make matters worse for Golladay, head coach Brian Dable put Golladay on notice the day after the game when he said that Colin Johnson and David Sills are in the mix not just to make the team, but to play for Jordan Renan of ESPN. It's fair to wonder if Golladay owes a big chunk of his Detroit production and his huge contract to the golden arm of Matthew Stafford. Given the struggles of both Golladay and Jones this offseason, it's worth noting, of course, that Jones looked sharp in the second preseason game. The veteran receiver is a straight avoid on my board. There are so many other players I'd rather take, even at his depressed ADP. And in our flex spot, it's the worst kept secret in the NFL. In news that shocked absolutely no one, Coach Matt Rule named Baker Mayfield the Panthers' starting quarterback over Sam Darnold. Let's be frank. If this didn't happen, it would have been an utter disaster for the Panthers, who have been mismanaged the last 3 years anyway. Now, look, Mayfield has plenty of flaws, plenty of them, but he is a significant upgrade on Darnold. And SI's Albert Breer noted that Mayfield's processing, timing, and field vision have stuck out when he's observed Panthers practice. This was really a sham competition because there was absolutely zero chance Darnold was going to win the gig once Carolina traded for Mayfield. And with rookie Matt Corral going on IR with a Liz Frank injury, the Panthers' quarterback depth chart will likely go Mayfield, Darnold, PJ Walker. And don't discount the Corral injury. Though he looked shaky in the preseason before getting hurt, if the Panthers were to stink this year, there was a non-zero chance that they could bench Mayfield to get a look at the rookie, but there's a much smaller chance that happens with Darnold and Walker. Let's go to the numbers. For Sports Info Solutions, Mayfield and Darnold have near identical accuracy when you take away layup throws, such as screens, and judge them just on non-pressured throws in their respective four-year careers. But Mayfield is far more aggressive, leading the duo in average depth of target, throws beyond the first down sticks, and percentage of throws that traveled 15 yards in the air or more. Now, Baker is also far more accurate when throwing deep downfield and gives us a reason to get a little bit more excited for DJ Moore and these Panthers pass catchers, who are all banged up outside of Moore this preseason, so keep an eye on that. A healthy Baker will provide a higher ceiling, largely because he's far more aggressive and accurate when throwing downfield than is Darnold. And unlike Darnold, Mayfield has actually had good NFL seasons, 2018 and 2020. Look, is it likely that Mayfield reestablishes himself as a franchise quarterback? No. But is there a better chance it happens with him than Darnold? Absolutely. Baker raises the floor and the ceiling of this entire offense. I'm Joe Dolan, and this has been the Fantasy Points Daily Lineup. Remember to like this video, hit that thumbs up down there, and subscribe to the Fantasy Points channel for the Daily Lineup and all of our other videos. And head to fantasypoints.com for all your fantasy draft needs. I know your draft's coming up. My schedule is full with drafts, and I know yours is too. Use code LINEUP22 for an extra 10% off any package at fantasypoints.com. And by the way, our rookie prospect guide, including all of Greg Cosell's rookie evaluations and Wes Huber's Devy profiles, is already discounted a further 60% in celebration of the start of fantasy football season. If you are a dynasty player, you must get this package. It is so cheap, and it is so detailed. I'll see you tomorrow, folks.